A couple has rare twins, and how they appear now will amaze you. When Sarah first held her two daughters, the hospital room became completely quiet, not from worry, but from wonder. The baby girls, delivered just minutes from each other, had skin like white porcelain that was nearly see-through. Their hair looked like fresh snow, silky and delicate. Even their tiny eyelashes and eyebrows almost vanished under the bright hospital lights. The nurses looked at each other with surprise. A children's doctor came over quietly, but Sarah stayed calm. She held them against her chest, shaking with deep feelings, and said softly, "They're absolutely perfect." The medical team gave them the news several hours later. Baby Emma and Lily were born with something called oculocutaneous albinism, an uncommon inherited condition that stops the body from making melanin in their skin, eyes, and hair. This happens in fewer than 1 out of 17,000 births. But having identical twin babies both with albinism was incredibly rare. David, their dad, stared in shock as he tried to understand what the doctors were telling them. Are they going to be all right? He wondered out loud, cradling one of his tiny daughters, feeling her warm skin in his hands. They're completely healthy, the doctor told him with confidence. However, they'll always need protection from sunlight, and their eyesight might have some problems. Sarah gave a small nod, already pulling the baby blanket over her daughter's little head. They had no clue how unique their experience as new parents would become. During the following weeks, it was obvious that both twins were growing well, holding up their heads sooner than expected, following things with their eyes, and making sweet sounds back and forth like they had their own special language. But even during those peaceful early days, people's stares felt overwhelming. When they went to buy groceries, strangers would peer into their baby stroller. "Do those babies have albinism?" someone asked in a hushed voice. Sarah raised her eyes and replied, "Yes, they have albinism," picking her words with care. Not everyone was understanding. Someone walking by said under their breath, "They remind me of tiny spirits." A different woman questioned, "Were they born too early? They don't look completely developed." David felt his muscles tighten with anger more times than he could remember. When the babies reached 6 months old, Sarah had given up going to busy playgrounds. By their 8-month birthday, both girls owned matching glasses that blocked harmful rays, big sun hats, and the strongest sunscreen was kept in every corner of their house. They felt no shame about their situation. They were simply being careful parents. Even so, staying away from others was painful. As Emma and Lily got bigger, their different personalities started to show beautifully. Emma was the brave one. She made her first sounds early, learned to crawl first, and one time pulled herself up in her bed just to throw her pacifier and laugh with joy. Lily was more calm and liked to watch everything. She would study Emma closely, copying what she did, moving toward doing things on her own but at her own speed. When they were together, they balanced each other perfectly, like two parts of one beautiful melody. They made each other feel better when bright lights scared them. They would hold each other's hands when visiting the doctor. They had developed their own way of talking through little sounds that only they seemed to understand. Sarah was sure she once saw Lily look over at Emma before attempting her first steps, as if she was asking, "Is it okay if I try this too?" However, difficult times came quickly. When they became toddlers, Emma started having nystagmus, which means her eyes moved back and forth rapidly without her control, something that often happens to children with albinism. Lily's eyes were so sensitive to light that even soft sunlight made her cry. The doctors recommended special treatments, different lighting in their home, and custom-made tools to help them see better. Sarah and David acted immediately without question. They changed everything in their house. They painted the walls with paint that wouldn't reflect light, put up curtains that blocked all sunlight in every room, and installed gentle lighting that wouldn't bother Lily's sensitive eyes. Still, some situations couldn't be avoided. At a child's birthday celebration, one parent moved their kid away and whispered, "I'm not sure if it's safe for them to be here. Should children like that even be outside?" David listened to every single word. Sarah left the party with tears in her eyes that she refused to let anyone see. Even with all these challenges, the twins grew stronger in their own special way. When nighttime came, they would curl up together just like they had before they were born. In the morning, they would giggle at the same time, pulling on each other's covers before their mom and dad could get to their room. They figured out how to live in a world that often thought they were unusual or delicate. But they weren't delicate at all. They were uncommon and amazing. One morning, while gentle sunlight came through their shaded bedroom, Lily took Emma's hand and said her first word clearly. "Sister," Lily whispered. Sarah, standing near the doorway, put her hand over her mouth in surprise. She had worried that the world wouldn't accept them, but now she realized they would teach the world to accept them together. When Emma and Lily reached their 4th birthday, they had already faced more curious looks, quiet comments, and difficult questions than most people experience in their entire lives. But while everyone kept wondering, what's the matter with them, the twins were busy proving what was wonderful about being different. Sarah would often watch them from the kitchen window while they played in their backyard. Lily, wearing her big sun hat and blue dress, would spin around slowly in a shady spot on the grass, holding a red rubber ball. Emma, who was always more daring, would run almost too close to the sunny areas just to see what would happen. They had learned to understand each other without speaking. When Lily's eyes began to hurt, Emma would carefully bring her inside the house. When Emma felt stressed by loud sounds or unfamiliar places, Lily would take her hand and say quietly, "We'll go together." Sarah and David never needed to teach them to take care of each other. It happened naturally. Starting school, though, brought new worries. The preschool principal stopped and looked concerned when she met the twins during sign-up day. "These children will need special help," she said cautiously. "You understand they'll be very noticeable, right?" David's body became tense. "We understand they're noticeable in the most beautiful way," he replied firmly. It wasn't just about having windows that blocked harmful rays and soft lighting in the classroom. It was the worry that other children might not understand them, that the same mean whispers from strangers might come from their classmates, that Emma and Lily might be made to feel inferior once again. But Sarah and David refused to give up. "We don't want them to hide," Sarah explained clearly. "We want them to be seen for exactly who they are." On their first school day, both girls put on matching blue dresses and purple sunglasses. Emma held Lily's hand firmly as they entered the classroom, their little backpacks moving up and down on their small shoulders. Some children stared at them. One little boy wondered, "How come your hair is so white?" Lily looked right at him and said, "It's because we were born to be special." Emma joined in, "Plus, we can see things in the dark that other people can't." The whole class started laughing. The awkward feeling disappeared. The girls felt comfortable. By the time lunch came, they were playing with lots of new friends, showing everyone their special books made for sensitive eyes and having fun on the carpet with big smiles. When Sarah came to pick them up, the teacher asked to speak with her privately. "I need to tell you something," the teacher began. They completely changed how this classroom felt today. It wasn't because of their medical condition. It was because they were so confident and proud of themselves. Sarah tried hard not to cry. "Thank you so much," she said in a whisper. Days became weeks, then months. The twins got used to school much better than anyone thought they would, but none of them knew that everything was about to change in the most unexpected way. The night before Hero Day, Sarah found the girls huddled together in their room, whispering urgently. "What are you two planning?" she asked, noticing scraps of fabric and cardboard scattered across the floor. "It's a secret, Mommy," Emma said, her eyes gleaming with determination. Lily nodded seriously. "We have something very important to do tomorrow." Sarah felt a strange mix of pride and worry churning in her stomach as she watched them work late into the evening. The next morning arrived with an electric tension in the air. The school announced Hero Day, where each child would dress up like someone they admired most. As parents dropped off their children, the hallways buzzed with excitement. Superheroes rushed past in flowing capes. Astronauts clanked by in cardboard helmets. Firefighters marched proudly in plastic boots. Then, the crowd suddenly went silent. Emma and Lily appeared at the school entrance, walking hand in hand with a confidence that made everyone stop and stare. They wore matching capes they had sewn themselves, cardboard sunglasses painted brilliant silver, and t-shirts with bold black letters declaring, "Being rare is being real." But it wasn't just their costumes that commanded attention, it was the way they carried themselves, like they were about to change the world. Other children gathered around them in a growing circle. Parents stopped their conversations mid-sentence. Even the teachers paused in the hallway, sensing something extraordinary was happening. The principal approached nervously. "Girls, who are you dressed as today?" The entire crowd leaned in, waiting. Emma lifted her chin high and declared with unwavering strength, "We're dressed as ourselves." The silence stretched like a held breath. Then Lily stepped forward, her voice clear and powerful. "We are each other's heroes, and we're done hiding." A parent fumbled for their phone. The photograph was taken. In that single moment, captured forever, two little girls had just rewritten their story. By lunchtime, whispers filled every corner of the school. By afternoon pickup, parents were sharing the image on their phones. Within hours, it exploded across the internet like wildfire. All of a sudden, people from every part of the world were talking about their story. Parents who had children with albinism sent grateful messages. Teachers contacted them asking how they could better help unusual children in their classrooms. A group that helps sick children reached out to Sarah and asked if they could include the twins in a campaign to teach people about their condition. But the most incredible thing happened weeks later when a package was delivered to their house. Inside was a shiny magazine with their photo on the front. The picture showed Emma and Lily holding hands, smiling with pure happiness, their white blonde hair shining in the sunlight. The title said, "Brighter Than Ever, the twins who taught the world how to see differently." That evening, Sarah helped them get ready for bed, their fingers still messy from celebration cake. "Mommy?" Lily asked quietly. "Was it a good thing that we were born like this?" Sarah smiled while brushing a curl away from her daughter's face. "It wasn't just good, sweetheart. It was a special gift." Emma moved a little beside her sister. "We made people notice us twice," she said sleepily. Sarah nodded with love. "Yes, you did. And the second time, they saw how bright you really are." Did you enjoy this story? What would you have done if you were Emma and Lily's parent? Would you have encouraged them to stand out or tried to protect them by helping them blend in? Let us know in the comments below. Being different isn't something to hide, it's something to celebrate. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.